The hospital hallway was silent, but her world was even quieter. 19-year-old Aria clutched the arms of her wheelchair, trembling as tears streamed down her face. Everything she had once believed in, music, dreams, her voice, her confidence, had vanished the day the accident stole her hearing. Her father, a powerful millionaire known for solving every problem with money, was running toward her in panic, but even he couldn't buy back the sound she had lost. And in front of her, kneeling with gentle eyes and steady hands, was a man she had met only moments ago, a single dad in blue scrubs who was about to change her life more than anyone ever had. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and miracles that come from unexpected people, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Aria had always been her father's pride, a quiet but brilliantly talented pianist who filled their mansion with melodies. Her childhood had been a symphony of recitals, trophies, and applause. But after the car crash, her world collapsed into a suffocating, empty silence. The doctors told her she was lucky to be alive, but she didn't feel lucky. Each morning she woke up desperate, waiting for even one sound. Rain on the windows, her father calling her name, even the hum of the city outside. But silence was all she found. For months she shut everyone out, sinking deeper into hopelessness. Her father, Daniel, hired therapists from every corner of the world. Specialists flew in, promising solutions, but all they brought were cold professionalism and empty reassurance. Aria couldn't read lips well, she struggled with sign language, and she hated the looks of pity she received. She felt broken, beyond repair. Then one foggy morning, Daniel insisted she try one last therapist. Aria resisted, but exhaustion made her give in. That's when she was taken to a small rehabilitation center, not the expensive institute her father expected, but a modest hospital where warmth replaced luxury, and that's where she met him. Ethan wasn't what Daniel had imagined. He wasn't famous, didn't dress like a top-tier specialist, and didn't have a wall of degrees behind him. He was young, humble, and stretched thin between night shifts and raising a little girl alone. Yet there was something extraordinary in the way he approached Aria, not as a project, not as a millionaire's daughter, but as a human being who needed kindness more than clinical expertise. The moment Ethan knelt in front of her and held out his hands, Aria looked up at him with empty eyes. She wasn't expecting anything. No one had reached her. No one had understood her pain. But Ethan didn't rush her. He simply held her gaze, speaking softly, knowing she couldn't hear him but trusting that compassion could still be felt. His hands moved slowly as he signed imperfectly, letting her see that he was learning too, willing to struggle alongside her, not above her. Even the smallest flicker of connection startled her. Ethan continued meeting her every day. He brought sketch pads to help her communicate, taught her simple exercises to regain balance, and wrote encouraging notes that she tucked under her pillow. He never treated her as fragile. He pushed her gently but firmly, believing she could rise again. He showed her ways to feel vibrations in music, helping her place her hands on piano keys so she could sense rhythm through touch. For the first time in months, her fingers moved over the keys without fear. Meanwhile, Daniel watched steadily from the corner of the room, caught between gratitude and guilt. He had spent months trying to fix everything with connections, technology, and wealth, only to realize the one thing Aria needed most was something he had forgotten how to give: emotional presence. He envied how easily Ethan reached her, but he also admired it. Through handwritten messages, Ethan shared pieces of his life with her. How he lost his wife to cancer, how he struggled alone, and how his daughter Lily was the reason he still believed in small miracles. Aria found comfort in those stories. She began smiling again, slowly, cautiously, like a flower blooming after a harsh winter. One afternoon, when the hospital lights were dim and the world seemed softer, Aria sat at the piano Ethan had arranged for her therapy. She hesitated, breathing deeply, then touched a single key. She couldn't hear it, but she felt it. She pressed another, then another. Soon her hands moved with growing confidence, tracing patterns she once knew by heart. Daniel, watching from the doorway, covered his mouth with trembling fingers as silent tears fell. It wasn't sound that filled the room, it was hope. Days passed. Aria's strength grew, and so did Ethan's belief in her. But with progress came a looming fear. Someday she would leave, and Ethan, just a small hospital therapist, would fade from her life. He tried not to think about it, but the thought clung to him. Then one morning, as Aria practiced reading lips with Ethan, she paused. Her eyes filled with tears, not of frustration, but of something deeper. She mouthed the words slowly, carefully, "Thank you." Ethan's breath caught. For the first time since the accident, she had willingly spoken. The sound was faint, shaky, barely audible, but to her father and Ethan, it was the most beautiful sound in the world. Daniel stepped forward, and Aria looked at him, not with resentment, but with forgiveness. He knelt beside her, finally understanding what she needed wasn't a miracle cure, but love, patience, and someone who would fight for her spirit. He took her hand, and she held his back. That evening, as Ethan prepared to leave, Aria reached for his wrist. Her touch stopped him like a whispered plea. She mouthed silent words again, asking him not to go, asking him to stay in her journey, asking him to help her continue healing. Ethan lowered himself to her level, his eyes warm and full, and promised her he wasn't going anywhere. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps these emotional journeys reach others who need hope. Before you go, tell us in the comments what part of the story moved you the most. And with that, Aria's world, once silent and shattered, began to fill again, not with sound, but with courage, connection, and the quiet truth that sometimes the right person doesn't need to shout to be heard. Sometimes all they need to do is whisper, "I'll help you."